Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fox Farms. Now, I did record an intro here before, but unfortunately, my mic was muted for the entire thing, so that intro can no longer be used. But since recording the intro, I have done a lot of work, and I'm going to show you guys what I've all done. So first off, all of these silos were not here. There was a much smaller silo system, but I wanted to go for something grand. There were two sheds here on this side. I opted to remove all of the buildings other than my house, and I went and put my own sheds down because I wanted ones with light. Now there were a couple of trees out here as well. I put double sheds here at the far end and other little details like that. So let's get into the gameplay right away. As you can see by the price, let's get a better view of that. Alright, 1.7 million is what I have in money. That is from selling all of the new equipment that was standing here as well as all the buildings. I graveled this entire parking lot and decided that we were going to make this a cattle and New Holland farm. But I also decided that we were going to make this a farm where we started off with only the very oldest and most antique of equipment. So we are starting off with an old-fashioned fertilized spreader, just the smallest of cultivators, as well as a disker. We got an old seed drill, and my favorite, we have this old Coloss combine. It's a tow behind. It is very, very unique. I think it'll be a lot of fun to try. Hopefully works out alright. And then we got this small square baler here, which again, really cool. I see it's got a chute going out to the back. I'm hoping it'll shoot bales out into a wagon. We also have a sickle mower. I can turn on the light for you to see. And then our starting tractors, it's going to be this little Massey Ferguson as well as this Massey 20B. So this 20B I believe is a diesel, and this one here is a gas. This one would be 37 horse, and this one would be about mid-40s. And then of course, what farm isn't complete with a nice old truck? So this one has a dump box. I believe we can fit 4,000 liters in it. Should be really good. And with that being said, I think there's just a couple of wagons we need to see yet, and then we can get right into business here. Obviously we have to have one flat deck trailer to haul all of our equipment home. And here you see my grain trailer. So it even has a little spout in the back. Really cool. It is a Russian unit from what I can tell. We have a bit of a forage wagon. Nice and old school, I like that. And then a bale trailer. For our old-fashioned baler, we need an old-fashioned bale trailer. And once again, with those Russian letters, or at least I think they are Russian. Now what's really cool about these two with the so-called Russian letters is that you can block this front axle so that if you want to back up in a straight line, that is very easy to do. It locks up the front axle entirely. The wheels still spin, but it just makes everything a lot easier to maneuver. Very good. So why don't we get started in our gameplay? The first thing we want to do in our gameplay is just tell you guys a little bit about these silos. These are the Brazilian, I believe it's called the 9. It's a multi-fruit, so we can store everything, every kind of fruit or whatever we want in here. We can store fertilizer in here, you name it. It's huge and it's very realistic. And then you have the dryer in the back, which is really, really cool. And this little question mark takes the shed away in case we have semi-tippers, you know, that tilt the whole trailer upward. In the future, that is something we can do. And here we have the laser that shows where our grain is going to be spilling, makes lining up our wagon easier for when we need to reload. The rusty old tank here is our water source. And all we were given on this map is field 25, which has nothing on it. So with the amount of money we have, we want to buy the farm right here, which if I grab that, that will give us field 26. And we also want to get field 2 if possible. So we're going to really dip low on the money here, but that is alright. We want to buy this, yes. And we will buy this one. I'm going to be really low on money. There we are. I've got 101,000. So we definitely need to make money. Lucky for us, this field is ready to harvest, so we can get right into it and try out our new combine. Some preliminary tests I did revealed that this tractor is not strong enough to turn the combine, so I did need something over 40 horsepower, and therefore I picked this little unit here, and we will see if this is indeed enough to pull the combine. We can use the little tractor to pull the grain cart. I think it should do fine. We'll see how it goes. Now I think if I'm going to be wise, I should probably start. Oh, looks like I caught myself on the pole. Not a good start. Not wise at all. There we are. I am thinking we should start from the far end and just kind of work our way just to see how this thing operates. This way we're getting shorter rounds, and also I don't think this drops chaff, which is very, very interesting. Now with a combine like this, technically we wouldn't be starting on the corner I just rounded. We would be starting on the corner I'm heading toward, simply because we don't want to be driving over our own crop. I have crop destruction turned off, but at the same time we want to be as realistic as possible. So we're pretty well lined up. Let's get her going a little straighter. We will turn on, and let's give this a go. Let's see what it looks like. Kind of curious myself. Now I can tell already that this tractor is a no-go with this combine, because it's doing about 1 kilometer an hour. So we may have to upgrade our tractor for this combine. While it does spin it, it is not at all good. And it looks like the chaff is pouring off to the side. That is very interesting. I don't know if I like the chaff dumped off to the side like that, but these things didn't have straw choppers back in the day. So this is how it's going to be this time. I believe we need to get a new tractor. Let me go to the menu and see what I can find. We have just leased ourselves a Massey 253. This one should have 57 horse, so that's 10 more than the yellow tractor, and we are very hopeful that this will be enough to pull that little combine. Otherwise we may just have to go with a self-propelled combine, because we really need to get our combining going. We can't be going 1 kilometer an hour. That is just never going to work. I was really hoping that we could do some more fun things with these small tractors, but if this combine isn't going to allow us, then we must move on. I've leased this tractor only, so in case it is also not powerful enough, there's not a lot of waste of money. Just looking at the what is the 253? It's also just doing 1 kilometer an hour. So this combine definitely requires a lot of power. It's pretty amazing. I would have thought that it wouldn't require quite as much, but that's okay. It's been a great little learning experience, right? And it just makes for some fun. Well, we all need fun in our games. So while he's out cruising, I do want to see what the horsepower requirements were on that little combine. You know, it doesn't even say. It really doesn't say what the horsepower requirements are. And that's probably why I never got around to checking. But as we can clearly see, this is not going to work. We're going to need to either lease a very powerful tractor, or we have to go and buy ourselves a self-propelled combine, which in this case would probably be for the better. Alrighty, well, we'll see you guys in just a little bit again. Before we get rid of this little combine, you should probably unload it. Now, I'm hoping that it'll all fill in this truck, although it does not appear. And I would say we were pretty darn close. There it is. Well, sorry to see this thing go, but it is unfortunate. But it must be returned to the store. So I'm going to return this, and we'll pick ourselves up a nice small old-fashioned combine that is not a tow type. And we'll see how we fare from there. We have just about wasted out all of our money. My goodness. And we did get ourselves the little bison combine. It is small and it is old-fashioned, so it's what we gotta go with. Shouldn't have wasted my money on that little tow behind, I guess. So what I'm doing right now, I'm cutting the field in half, basically. This should help us, you know, with the whole transit problem. It's easier to cut across half the field than it is to have to drive all the way around the field and or run over crops. So this will help us to get from point A to point B quicker. And it looks like the evening is very quickly approaching, but as everyone knows, combining is always done at night for some reason. Seems, at least if the dew and humidity is just right. So we're gonna let this fella here take care of business, and let's see which way he goes. I'm hoping he makes a left turn, but if my experience has taught me anything, he's gonna make a right. Oh no, look at that, he is making a left. Wonderful. So he's almost halfway full. I think what I will do, I will get the truck and the grain trailer, and I'll bring it out here, and we can start to unload him. So let's jump over. There we are. So we're waiting here at the end of the field, and we can turn around and meet our combine. Now I think this setup here should be pretty good. I don't foresee too many problems using the truck and the wagon, although I should watch how I drive. That is a very narrow swath. If I don't want to run over my crops, I'm going to have to be real careful. My goodness, that is narrow. In the future, I'll probably end up buying, what is this, field 1? And I'll just attach them together once we have bigger equipment, obviously. So that it is worth doing that. In these swaths, I really wouldn't be running over either if this was real life, but thank goodness this is a game. Let's catch him at the end of the field, and we'll see if he wants to unload us. So hoping for a lot of weight in the truck, and then we'll do the wagon a little bit later. I think it's kind of cool. You can fill up a pickup truck now. That just seems so cool to me. I don't think you'll be able to fill it all in one shot, but I could be mistaken. Here we go. Let's have us a look. Well, it'll at least get 3/4 full by the look of it. 69. Nice. Of course it had to be that. It's so dark out here I can barely tell what is what. Combine should have more lights on, for being honest. It should have some side marking lights. But the truck is full. Trailer has got some in there, and I think we will just pull off to the other end, and hopefully on its next pass it will empty out into the trailer. I think we're gonna bring the grain home and we'll call that a night. It's getting quite late for the farmer. I really love how these silos have red lights on the top. I guess so airplanes don't nick it. But we're gonna see how unloading this truck and unloading this new wagon are gonna do. I'm quite curious, see what the end result will be. Here we go. That truck is definitely sagging down, I'll say that for sure. Alright. So it looks like tailgate tips down and they just kind of dump out. Sure, why not? And then let's get a better view. I believe I will have to pull off to the side. And I think this is where blocking the trailer like this is going to be very useful, because now I can slide it around wherever I need it to go. So in this case, I think we want to like so. And then if we open our pipe up, we tip and it dumps right out. We can unblock those tires. So that's really neat. Let's take a view from the back. Oh yeah. It looks like it's all hand cranked. So this would be very realistic as far as that goes. There'll be no hydraulics on this unit. Very cool. We'll get all this unloaded and I think that should do it. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why I like these buildings instead of the ones that were on the map with the buildings all lit up like that. It's just so beautiful. Like it makes working at nighttime a lot easier, and I think all in all it's just much better. And with the yard lights here on the dryer as well as by the loading or unloading ramp, everything just works better when you have more lights. And it looks like if I really wanted to, I could go to sleep. Although I don't know if I really want to yet. It's not quite time. I think we'll maybe unload one more time and then we can call her a night. And top of the morning to us, eh? Right on. So we're gonna get right back into our harvesting here. There's our truck. Let's just jump right back into it. Hire the worker. Oh, there we are. For a second I was a little lost. Still quite early in the morning, but I think we're good to go. Let's get back to our field work and we'll see if we can get at least half the field done before the end of the day. I did come across a interesting thought, and I think I might try it. So I am thinking, wow, my grammar is awful. I am thinking of using seasons for this map. Now, I haven't really done much with seasons before. I guess it just wasn't quite for me, or I didn't really pay much attention to it. But I think trying it with seasons would be a nice new challenge, kind of make things different. So I'm looking forward to that. And here comes the first load of barley for the morning. Looks like it's going to be a really good day. We've not done that many rounds, and we got the truck and trailer full. So I think we're going to have a pretty good harvest. I feel like we should almost have a couple more wagons, just so that it would load up a little longer, and I think that would be good all in all. Gotta try to remember how. There we are, pipe out. See if I remember how to do this. I'm using. It's dumping onto the ground instead of in the grate, but I'll take it. Interestingly, I can unload two different things at once. So just unloaded the straw and it looks like my barley is still going. That's a cool little feature. I guess next time I'll just park a little better and I'll have a little more room. But definitely happy with that. Means a lot more productivity on my part. As you guys can tell, I did get a little impatient with my wagon being full so quickly, so I went ahead and bought a second wagon just like it, except this one would be a little bit taller. I noticed that my auger wagon had a hitch in the back, a very high hitch, but a hitch nonetheless. So I figured why not try it, and sure enough it works. I am going to change my my auger wagon to also be one of these tall ones. I think that's a 30, what is this, a 25 perhaps? I don't even know, but I think we all know what we're going for here. Just so I get a little more capacity out of it, and I find this auger unloads terribly slowly, so I think we would do well to have a couple of taller wagons and just have it dumping out of the back. That is the plan for right now. Well, we've run into one problem so far, and that is that the auger doesn't lift high enough for that wagon. You have to be super careful how you drive under it, and if you're too far out, then you can't load anything into that tall wagon. So that is a bit of a bummer. I was not expecting that, and I did buy it. As you can see, I am down less than 3 grand here. So very unfortunate, but it is what it is, I guess. Can't do much about it. We bought it. I could sell it, but I'm not convinced that it doesn't work. But the way it looks right now, it might not work. I'm going to pull these off to the side. This is actually a really dangerous setup if you guys are ever hauling multiple wagons at once. Do not have an empty in the center. It could rotate and flip on you. We're going to give this tall wagon one more go. See if we can load anything. Maybe you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about. So right now it looks like it would clear. It looks like this spout should be far enough in there, and yet we see it's not doing anything. Very unfortunate. So suppose we just gotta use the auger wagon. Wow, there's a prime example of why you don't have the empty wagon in the middle. You can see that little jerk that the wagon gave when I braked. Stuff is real. I have seen equipment lift up on its side if you yank it too hard. As you can see, I sold one of my trailers, and that was the one that was the tall one anyway, and I figured if it's not doing us any good, then it's no point in me having it. So we're at 7,100 right now, so that's good. The auger wagon is still unloading for some unknown reason. So I'm going to unload the combine here. Oh, looks like he's full right here. Our straw is just about done loading, at least on the center section. And then we got a whole bunch over here that we're going to have to load. So we will be quite busy. But I think once we get a nice rake, we can probably start baling. It'll be really good. I could bale all these separately, but I find that having your bales that close together, it just feels like it's more work. I would rather have the rows further apart but the bales closer, instead of having further apart bales but the rows really close, if that makes sense. Well, you know, I'm starting to realize something. This little T20 does not hook up to anything. I mean, maybe 3-point implements it could, but it seems like everything with the PTO it will not hook up to, which is it's a little bit aggravating, to be honest. I mean, I'm not expecting much out of it, but I was hoping it would hook up to the baler, seeing as it's 35 horse and the baler only requires 15. So you can see all these little cultivators and whatnot it can hook up to. So that's all fine and dandy. But sometimes my 20D Massey is busy and I need this guy to pull his weight. But that does not seem to be... Oh look, this thing has 3-point and PTO, and yet it can hook up to that? Interesting. But it won't hook up to anything else. That is very, very strange. We'll leave that right there for now. Well, maybe we won't throw the tractor away just yet. We'll maybe give it a little more grace. It might come in handy rather shortly, but if it's not going to start pulling its weight, then it's just going to be costing me money, and things that cost money we need to sell. So here's our last load of straw that we had picked up from the far end. We will dump this as well, and I am going to, just because I'm such a curious guy and I can never keep my word, I am going to see if I can bale some things, because somehow I'm under the impression that we have a bale thrower. If that is indeed the case, then I don't need to go pick up bales, which would be wonderful. So I have this bale wagon here, and I have my fingers crossed that this bale wagon will not allow all the bales to fall out. Why don't we fold this thing up? There we are. And it looks like I should probably be picking up some grain on my way over. There we are. I'm going to bring this over to the baler, and we'll take the truck and load up some more grain. Well, here's to hoping we do something mildly right. We can unfold baler. Looks like it goes sideways. Lower and turn on. And I think we'll start by getting all this stuff off to the side here. And maybe do a few short rows. So I'm really hoping that this is going to have a good thrower on it. I am worried about my bales falling out of the back, but I am going to leave that to chance for now. Oh yeah, look at that. There's a bale starting to poke its head out. That's wonderful. So I'll probably take one of these shorter rows that the combine just finished. And let's see how it throws. No, it doesn't throw. So this wagon is obviously a flop. I might have to get a different wagon, seeing as this one is going to be a lot of hand bombing on my part. There we are, I can see that already. Dropped. Yeah, this is not going to work. Trial and error, I guess. That's how we do it. Not sure why I thought that this was a hay wagon, but I guess that's what the label said. At least these are easy to carry. I do have that going for me. How's it looking on the inside? That's not too bad. Okay, very good. So I'm going to take a look at my menu and see what kind of hay wagon I went and got myself. I'll be back. We did another trial just to see what would happen, and wouldn't you know it, we still can't get bales to stay in a wagon. That might have overshot. Possibly. We'll see. Bottom line is, we need a different wagon if we're going to use this baler, because this baler, the thrower on it is very, very short, and I can't figure out a way to extend it or do anything with it. So that is we did throw it past. Wonderful. Yeah, that's our dilemma for now. It's figuring out how to get a wagon that'll work with that. I guess this wagon's hitch is too long. Would that make sense? Well, do we think we can get this little tractor to actually do some work? This is a 35 horse tractor, and it's a rake that requires 35 horse to pull. So I have not tried this yet, and I only lease this rake, so here's the hope and it's actually going to work. There was a smaller rake that I could use, but unfortunately that one required 50 horse. And this one doesn't require any PTO power, as you can see. It is a ground driven rake, so we're going to see if we can get this rake to work for us. And it looks like it's doing just fine. Finally, a little gray and red gets to do something of use. That was about time, I would say. My goodness. So we're gonna let the little T20 do its thing, and we're gonna continue to harvest our grain on the other side of this field. Interesting how she chose that as her path, but we'll take it. I will continue to monitor her raking and make sure that what she's doing is actually making sense for us. I went ahead and sold the AFN or APN baler, and I leased this one because it's the next size up and it has a much better thrower, as you can see. But I've run across a very unique problem. Insufficient power available for the attached equipment. So folks, that tells you something. There is nothing I can do. Next episode, I need to buy that baler. It's just leased right now. I'm going to return it before the end of the hour. But we do need a bigger tractor. There's just no two ways about it. I don't know which one I'm going to get, but I'm just going to see if I can go for the next biggest in horsepower. This one here was 47 horse. So I need something in the 50s. That would be great if I could get that. I would really love to see a Fordson Dextra or a Ford 4000, Ford 5000 series. Any of those would be great. But since I don't have those mods, then I have to do with what I can. All in all, we're hoping for a good harvest. The other side, the field is all done and behind the shelters. So it's just this little triangle left here, and then this half of the field is done. It has taken unbelievably long with this tiny little combine, but that is alright. That is perfectly fine. We're enjoying ourselves, and that's the important part, isn't it? I did just return the rake. It was more of a test than anything, and the time was just about up for it. Seeing as my minutes were just about up to the next hour, so I figured that was a good time to return the rake. And that should leave us for episode 2 to have nice wide swaths to do some baling with that new blue baler that we want to get. That being said, I should be cleaning up my tractors here, not having everything in a big mess, right? I did make a bit of a mess with my bale wagon here. I think I threw a handful of bales away. Our other field is just about done. Probably got another 5 or 6 passes to go, and that field should be done. Looking forward to that. Well, I say field, it'll be the half field, right? But then maybe we can focus on selling some grain. So I think that should do it for this episode. I think we've pretty much seen what we can and can't do with our tiniest of equipment. It is painfully obvious that we do need a bigger tractor. So I'm going to see what kind of mods are all out there. If there's anything I can get to play a little more realistically. I really do enjoy when I get to use tiny little tractors, right? There's just something about it. And these bales are going to go off to my cattle farm in the future, which of course I don't have yet, but we'll get there. And speaking of cattle farm, I believe field 6 is covered in grass, so that should be something we should be looking at buying in the short term. Simply because we will be able to get a lot of hay off of that. Very good. Well, thank you guys all for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Take care, be safe, we'll see you soon.